Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching and please like and subscribe. The alarms of the royal battleship Vorlon echoed through every metal corridor like the roar of a wounded beast. Red warning lights flashed overhead, painting the ship in sharp colors of danger. Engineers ran between workstations, shouting reports and worry-filled updates. The entire vessel looked as if it had survived a battle it was never meant to fight. But in the center of this storm of panic stood a single figure, tall, strong, and terrifying. Princess Velra of the Kalthar Empire. Her silver armor was scorched, cracked, and leaking blue energic mist. Her shoulder plate was torn open, her gauntlet half melted. And yet she walked without fear, her sharp eyes glowing like the core of a dying star. Every worker in the engineering bay froze when she stepped inside. Several bowed. Others simply backed away, afraid of angering the princess in such a fragile moment. Only one person did not move. A young human technician named Eli Grant. He stood near a repair table, clutching a toolkit. His heart hammered as Velira's gaze swept across the room. She paused when she saw him, the only human in the entire bay. Her eyes narrowed, then she pointed directly at him. "You," she said, her voice cold and strong. "Human, fix this armor. Now." Eli swallowed hard. He was new to the ship, only 3 months into his work assignment. Humans were considered weak and slow by most Kalthar warriors, so they rarely trusted them with anything important. But right now, he was the only engineer not already assigned to another system. He stepped forward, trying to look calm even though sweat ran down his back. "Yes, Your Highness," he said, voice steady. Her gaze sharpened. "I do not tolerate mistakes. I understand." She studied him for one long second, as if deciding whether he was worth her time. Then she sat on the repair chair, the armor grinding noisily as she lowered herself. The plates around her chest and shoulders shifted and hissed with damaged energy. The entire room watched with wide eyes. Eli felt their stares pressing on his back. Is this human going to die? Will she crush him if he fails? He ignored the whispers and focused on the armor. He moved closer and gently touched the cracked plates. A sudden crackle of blue electricity jolted between his fingers. Velra raised a brow at him. "Careful, technician." "Yes, princess," he said, quickly adjusting a tool to vent the energy safely. "The repair begins." Eli worked slowly, trying not to tremble. The armor damage was far worse than he expected. He saw deep fractures, scorched wiring, and power cells that looked ready to explode. He whispered under his breath, "Yo. You should be dead." Velra heard him. Her lips curved slightly, not a smile, but something close. "It takes more than this to kill me," she said. Her voice was calm, almost amused. Eli dared to look up into her eyes, and in that moment he realized something. She wasn't angry. She was watching him with curiosity. "Are all humans so soft-handed?" she asked. Eli blinked. "Soft-handed? Yes." She leaned closer. "Your hands shake. Are you scared?" His heart jumped, but he kept working. "A little." "A little?" She sounded surprised. "Most humans tremble before me." "I'm still working, aren't I?" he replied. That made her pause. Her gaze softened, not with kindness but with interest. She murmured. "Interesting human." Her tone didn't make him relax. It only made him more tense. Danger in the armor. As Eli adjusted another plate, a red blinking warning appeared on his handheld device. He frowned. "That's odd." Velira's eyes narrowed again. "Explain." "There's something inside your armor that shouldn't be there." The engineering chief, across the room, suddenly stiffened. "Is that a fault? Another energy leak?" "No," Eli said quietly. It's too structured. Too clean." He scanned again. The device on his screen began flashing rapidly. "Unknown explosive mechanism detected." Eli's blood went cold. He whispered, "Someone planted a bomb in your armor." The entire room froze. Velra did not move, but the air around her changed, sharp, cold, dangerous. "Show me," she said. Eli gently tilted her shoulder plate, revealing a thin metallic capsule wedged between the armor layers. The device hummed softly, glowing with a faint red pulse. If the princess had powered her armor to full strength, it would have detonated. Velira's voice was low. "Remove it." Eli stared at the device. One wrong move could blow both of them apart. His hands were sweating. He looked up at her. "Princess, if I slip, then we both die," Velra finished calmly. "So do not slip." Eli inhaled deeply and tried to steady his breathing. Everyone around the repair station backed away. The room became completely silent. He reached into his kit and pulled out a thin magnetic clamp. Slowly, he slid it under the bomb. His hand shook once. Velora suddenly placed her hand on his shoulder, not gently but firmly. Focus. Eli froze. Her touch was strong, grounding. Her golden eyes locked onto his. "Do not fear death, human," she said softly. "Fear failure." Strangely, that helped. Eli steadied the clamp and slowly tightened it. The bomb clicked onto the magnet. The red pulse slowed, then went dark. The device powered down. A collective exhale rushed through the engineering bay. But Velora did not look relieved. She looked angry. "Someone tried to kill me," she said. "Someone on this ship." A shift in the air. Eli carefully set the bomb into a blast-proof container. When he turned back, he found the princess watching him with a strange expression, not cold, not suspicious. Almost thoughtful. "You saved my life," she said. "I just did my job," Eli answered. She leaned slightly toward him. "No, you risked your life for mine." Eli shrugged lightly. "That's what anyone would do." "Not anyone," she corrected. "Not even many of my own soldiers." Her eyes narrowed with an emotion Eli did not recognize at first. Respect. Maybe even something deeper. He stepped closer to check the final armor connection. His hand brushed the edge of her chest plate, causing a faint spark between skin and metal. Velira's fingers suddenly curled around his wrist. Eli's heartbeat stopped. The room felt too quiet. Too warm. Too close. "Princess," he whispered. She tilted her head, her face near his, her voice dropping to a playful whisper he had never expected. "Don't be shy, human." Eli's face heated. His breath caught. Her eyes held his with intense focus, as if she could see every thought inside him. Before he could react, boom. A massive shake rocked the entire battleship. Lights flickered. Consoles sparked. Officers shouted. Another explosion hit the ship, then another. Velora released Eli and stood immediately, her armor flaring with new energy. She snapped her helmet on and turned toward the bay doors. A Navy officer screamed, "Enemy vessels incoming. They're boarding us." Velora looked back at Eli. "You may have saved me once," she said darkly, "but now war is here." "Should I stay, Your Highness?" he asked. "No." She grabbed his arm and pulled him close. "Stay with me." Eli's breath caught. "With you? You saw the bomb. Someone wants me dead. I do not know who I can trust on this ship." Her voice dropped again, quieter. "Except you." Before Eli could respond, the doors burst open and the sound of gunfire echoed through the halls. Velora stepped forward with her blade drawn, her voice fierce. "Human, behind me." Eli nodded, fear and adrenaline rushing through him. As the princess charged into battle, lights flashing off her freshly repaired armor, Eli followed. Because somehow, in the middle of this chaos, he felt something he hadn't felt since arriving here. He mattered. And the princess was watching him. Very closely. Enemy forces stormed the battleship Vorlon like a wave of fire. The ship shook under the impact of boarding drills cutting into its hull. The halls filled with the roar of alarms, clashing metal, and shouts from Kalthar warriors scrambling to defend their princess. Eli stayed right behind Velora as she moved through the smoke-filled corridor. Her armor glowed with fresh power, the power he had restored, and she cut down the first attacker before he even lifted his weapon. A second enemy soldier rushed forward. Velora stepped to the side and struck him with her armored fist. He flew back like a rag doll. Eli flinched. Even injured, she was terrifying. The princess glanced back at him. "Do not fall behind." "I'm trying," Eli said, panting. Another explosion shook the ship. Velora pushed Eli against the wall and shielded him with her body as burning debris rained from the ceiling. When the smoke cleared, she grabbed his wrist and pulled him with her. "You stay close to me," she ordered. He nodded. The warmth of her grip stayed on his skin long after she let go. The emergency command room. They reached the emergency command center, a wide chamber filled with screens, holograms, and panicked officers. The air smelled like burning wires. Velora walked in like a storm, and everyone immediately fell silent. "Report," she commanded. An officer pointed at the flickering holo map. "Princess, the enemy breached our lower decks. They're targeting power systems. If they disable the main generator, our shields will fall. And then they will kill me," Velora said simply. The officer swallowed. Yes, Your Highness. Velra turned to Eli. You repaired the outer armor before it failed. Can you repair a generator under pressure? Eli hesitated. I can try. No, she said firmly. I need more than try. I need you to succeed. Her eyes locked onto his. You are the only one on this ship who can handle the human-built power stabilizers. If they fail, we all die. Eli took a deep breath. He felt fear, but he also felt something stronger. The princess believed in him. I'll do it, he said. Velra nodded once. Good. She placed a hand on his shoulder, not forceful like before, but supportive. Do not die, Eli. I'll do my best, princess. She actually smiled, just a little, but enough to make his chest tighten. The generator room 2 royal guards escorted Eli and Velra down into the lower decks. The metal floors shook with every impact from the battle outside. Sparks showered from broken pipes overhead. When they reached the generator chamber, the heavy doors slid open with a hiss, revealing chaos. Panels lay shredded across the floor. The giant stabilizer coils glowed with unstable energy. Alarms screamed inside the room. This is bad, Eli whispered. Velra stood beside him, scanning the damage. Can you fix it? Yes. But someone needs to hold incoming attackers back. Velira's blade ignited with a blue shimmer. Leave that to me. Eli rushed to the main console and pried it open. A wave of heat washed over him. The coils were overheating. If the reactor OV were loaded, the entire ship would explode. He shouted over the noise, Princess, I need at least 5 minutes. Then you will have 6, she answered, stepping forward. The doors at the far end suddenly burst open. Enemy warriors charged into the room with weapons ready. Velra moved like lightning. Her blade slashed through the first soldier. She blocked 2 blaster shots with her armored forearm, grabbed a third enemy by the neck, and threw him across the room. The battle raged behind Eli. He tried to focus on the wires and circuits despite the noise of metal smashing against metal, the grunts of war, and the crackle of burning plasma. He rewired the first stabilizer. He cooled the second. He sealed a crack in the third. Another explosion shook the room. Dust rained from above. Princess, are you okay? He shouted without looking back. Her voice came strong and sharp. Focus, human. Do not worry about me. He did focus, harder than he had ever focused in his life. But then, an enemy soldier slipped past Velra. He charged at Eli with a blade raised. Eli froze. Velra roared a warning and sprinted across the room. She slammed into the attacker right before he reached Eli, knocking him away. Her armor took a hit. A deep cut across her side. She dropped to one knee, gasping. Princess, Eli shouted. I said focus, she barked, forcing herself to stand. He hesitated, torn between helping her and fixing the reactor. She glared. If you stop now, we both die. That was enough. Eli turned back to the core and connected the final stabilizer. The lights flashed. The hum of the generator shifted to a steady rhythm. Power flowed again. It's done. Eli yelled. The ship is stable. Velra stabbed the last attacker through the chest and kicked him away. The doors sealed automatically as the emergency system regained power. Silence settled. The princess leaned against the wall, blood dripping from her wound but eyes still fierce. You saved us, she said. Eli shook his head. You protected me while I worked. She laughed softly, a rare, deep sound. Then we saved each other. A quiet moment in the aftermath as the ship regained control. Velra allowed Eli to guide her to a nearby med station. She sat on the edge of the bed while Eli patched the cut on her side with a med gel pack. She watched him the whole time. Not with suspicion, not with command, with something gentler. Eli, she said quietly. You are different from other humans. Most humans fear me, but you look at me as if I am normal. You're not normal, Eli said honestly. You're impressive. Velra blinked, surprised by his honesty. You speak boldly, she murmured. I'm speaking the truth, Eli said. Her eyes softened. She lifted her hand and touched his chin, guiding his face up. I told you before, she whispered, leaning close. Don't be shy. Eli's breath caught again, but this time, he didn't pull away. The Royal Council arrives. The med bay doors slid open and a group of tall Kalthar officials entered, wearing royal armor and long cloaks. They looked shocked to see Eli so close to the princess. One of them stepped forward angrily. Princess Velra, why is a human touching you? Velra stood up straight, her presence suddenly sharp again. Because he saved my life, she said. Twice. The council members looked stunned. He discovered a bomb in my armor. He disabled it. He restored the generator during the attack. And he protected this ship when many of you failed. The council bowed their heads, ashamed. Then Velra turned to Eli. Kneel. Eli blinked. What? Why? Kneel, human, she repeated. He slowly knelt on one knee. The entire room watched in silence as Velra placed her hand on his shoulder and spoke in a clear voice. I declare Eli Grant as my chosen technician, bound to me, protected by royal right, and honored in the Kalthar Empire. Gasps filled the room. This was not a small title. This was a lifelong bond. A symbol of deep trust. A role normally given only to elite warriors or personal confidants. Eli stared up at her in shock. Princess, I don't know what to say. You say nothing, Velra said. Just stand by my side. He stood, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. She stepped closer to him. So close that their armor brushed. You risked everything for me, she whispered. A princess does not forget such things. Final balcony scene. Hours later, after the ship was secured and the battle ended, Velra called Eli to the royal observation balcony. The stars glowed outside the transparent barrier as the damaged battleship drifted through space. Eli walked beside her, still wearing soot-stained clothes, still feeling the weight of everything that happened. Velra stood with her hands behind her back, staring into the stars. Her armor had been repaired, again by him. You know, Eli, she said without turning, today changed many things. For you? He asked. For both of us. She turned toward him, stepping close until only inches separated them. You saved my life, she said softly. And I found someone I can trust. Eli swallowed. I didn't expect any of this. Neither did I, she said, her voice almost too soft for a warrior princess. Then she added, but I'm glad it happened. She reached out and gently took his hand. Eli froze, surprised, breathless. Velra looked up into his eyes. Stay with me, human, she whispered. Not because I command it, but because I want it. The stars reflected in her eyes. Eli smiled, small, nervous but real. I'll stay, he said. Velira's expression slowly shifted into something warm, something rare, something only he had seen. Then, without another word, she pulled him slightly closer. Not as a princess and her subject, but as two people whose lives had been changed forever. End.